Loving yourself has many benefits, from an increase of self-esteem to a boost of confidence. The act of self-love is greatly responsible for many positive benefits of your psyche and your identity. However, there seems to be one problem when it comes to loving ourselves. We don't really know how to do it. So first off, what is self-love? Simply put, self-love is treating yourself similar to the way that you treat someone else that you love. And I think to understand this, we must also understand what is love. Well, in the English language, love is twofold. It's a feeling, but it can also mean an action. You feel love, as in the feeling, for your cat. But you also show love, as in the action for your cat whenever you feed them. The feeling does not require the action. However, the action usually invokes the emotion of love. So almost everyone knows what love actually feels like, but maybe you don't know what actions that I'm referring to when I speak of being loving. The actions that we correlate with love are things like taking care of someone else's needs, like a parent feeding their child, being thoughtful in your behavior to help someone out, like a boyfriend buying flowers to cheer up his girlfriend, sacrificing your own wants for someone else's needs, like maybe a friend skipping a movie date to visit a friend's funeral. And we also think of them as inside our in-group. In other words, we will fight for them, like if your brother stands up for you in front of your parents. Now, there are also excuses that we commonly misrepresent as love, but they're not actually love. For example, number one would be tolerating bad behavior. Because are you truly a loving parent if you let your kid be bad just because you don't want to punish them? And also, it's not love when you sacrifice your own needs for someone else's needs. This is usually called worship, it's not necessarily love. And lastly, we have an intense or burning sexual desire. This also is not love, it's called lust. And if you're still confused, don't worry. After I get done explaining a little bit about how an ego works, I'm going to give you 11 actual ways to love yourself. So when it comes to loving yourself, all you have to do is treat yourself like you'd treat a friend that you love. Would you let your friend eat 12 hotcakes in a row? You definitely warn them of the dangers of eating so much, right? Would you let your friend watch Netflix and be sad all day? Or would you go over and try to cheer them up, try to get them out of the house? Would you let your friend lie to you? Would you let your friend go through a nasty breakup alone? What about letting them get back with their nasty ex? Would you let them say negative things about themselves? And would you let your friend hurt themselves? Hopefully, if you're a good friend, you wouldn't let them do any of these things. And hopefully, if you love yourself, you also wouldn't let yourself do any of these things. Why is it then sometimes so difficult to treat ourselves the same way that we treat our friends that we love? The difference between you and your friend in these type of thought experiments is notably one thing: ego. Your friend doesn't have an ego, or at least you don't comprehend it when you're making decisions about your behaviors towards them. You do have an ego though. Your ego usually prevents you from acting on yourself in the same way that you'd act on a friend. Let me use myself as an example. My name is Theodore. Everything that I've done in the past, those are my behaviors. They are basically a summary of who I am. Now, everything that I think about myself, those are my thoughts. They are who I think I am. Now, the difference between these two, who I am and who I think I am, is just ego. See, ego likes to add titles, fancy names, special privileges, and juiced up copywritten adjectives to make your actions seem more important than they actually are. And for good reason too, but I'll talk about those in another video. So here's something called the do-think dichotomy. I do create YouTube videos. That's a behavior. However, I think I'm successful on YouTube. That is part of my ego. I do have a 4-year relationship with my girlfriend. A behavior. I think I'm a loving, caring person. Ego. I do take friends on many vacations. And I think I'm a generous, likable guy. Now, because of our ego, we can't clearly see what we actually do. Now, we can usually very clearly see what our friends do, and because of this, we don't treat ourselves the same way that we treat our friends. So why am I getting into this? Because a part of self-love includes understanding how your identity forms. Now, the goal in self-improvement is usually to get rid of your ego and see yourself objectively for who you are. In other words, to see the true behaviors that you've done in the past. In short, the identity of who you are is who you were in the past. So if you want to change who you think you are, all you gotta do is change what you've done in the past. Well, you might be sitting back in your chair and going, "But Theodore, you can't change the past." You're right, you can't change the past, but you can create it by altering the present. So all in all, if you want to change who you are, you change what you are doing. You give your future self proof that you are a certain type of person by acting a specific type of way, and you do that today. Does that make sense? So back to self-love. If you want to love yourself, you have to change your present behavior until that present behavior becomes past tense. Then, whatever that self-love action behavior was, it eventually turns into past tense. Then you turn into someone who can say, I have a history of loving myself, which also is synonymous with I love myself. Overall, you start to love yourself when the good traits that you would name yourself with outweigh the bad traits that you would name yourself with. You might think that you're lazy, boring, and not fun to be around. Well, you just have to perform some behaviors that turn lazy into productive, boring into adventurous, and not fun into fun. It all starts with your behavioral change. Theodore here. I want to share with you a project that I just completed and I'm launching this week because of Valentine's Day. My most successful course on dating, The Psychology of Attraction, has just been upgraded to version 2. What does that mean? It means now all students get free access to the book. I've spent a ton of time and money creating and filling this book with tons of helpful stuff with the help and feedback of our community. And if you want it, you can enroll in Psychology of Attraction 2.0 before midnight on Valentine's Day, and I'll ship it right to your house. Plus, you'll get instant access to the full course containing over 50 lectures on topics like reading body language, overcoming approach anxiety, and a step-by-step framework for asking a girl out. You'll also get lifetime access to our growing and positive community. Thousands of students have already enrolled, and you can too. All you have to do is click this link and you can learn more about my flagship, best-selling, results-producing product. And as always, this course, this book, this membership all come with a 100% 30-day money-back guarantee, so that it's a completely risk-free, no-brainer. If you join and you realize it's not for you, or that you don't learn anything, or whatever the reason, all you have to do is ask for a refund and you'll get it. Plus, I'll let you keep the book for free. Think about it. I wouldn't still be in business if this product, this framework, my teaching didn't work. If it didn't actually help guys get girls to like them. If it didn't teach the fundamental communication skills and confidence tactics that actually help a guy like you stretch out of his comfort zone and grow into the man he was meant to be. Now I leave it to you. It's your decision. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested, click here to get started.